everyone, this is part 2 of the Euro mount. This is what I do with my moose. I'm going to turn the water on here. I like to put like all hot water in. And then I add a ton of borax. I don't measure, I just throw a bunch in. I'm going to be doing this a lot, so. And then Dawn dish soap. Put a ton of that in there too. Now I have to fill this thing right to the very top. And it doesn't even really cover the whole moose skull. So I will use this. I'll just place it on top with it soaking wet. And like I said, I do this for about 3 weeks. Water will stay hot for like almost 24 hours. I'll do it in the morning, well 12 hours anyways. So tomorrow morning I'll do this again, and then I'll check it out and see if I can pull any of the membranes and nasal passages that I missed when I pressure washed it. That's just pure hot water. Like this thing's been drying in the garage for the last few weeks anyways. I've been too busy, so I'll just put that around there. Like I said, I gotta fill this right to the very top. You could use a big pot or something to boil it, like a garbage can or whatever, but I mean, how often do I do a moose? Not very often, so once a year maybe. I've done 2 before. I can already feel that getting all slimy. Like I say, I will fill this right to the very top here. And I'm doing this just to get the rest of all the little stuff that I couldn't get off with the pressure washer, or what I didn't want to get off with the pressure washer because I could damage the skull. Now I just let it soak, and I'll let it soak overnight. I've almost had this thing overflow like I just about did there. So there we go. So I'll get rid of all the air bubbles here. So it's just soaking in the water. This is the first step of cleaning it other than the pressure washer. I should say the second step. And that's using borax and Dawn dish soap. And I'll just leave it like this. And I'll let it soak like this for 12 hours. And then I'll just probably drain half the water, and then I'll add all hot water again. And I'll just keep doing that until I feel like I got all the stuff out of it. It'll soften it right up, and it's funny, just all of a sudden it just all comes out, and it comes out in one piece. There's quite a bit in there that you miss with the pressure washer, so stay tuned. I will show you what happens in 12 hours. Well, good morning everyone. Monday morning today. I started doing this, I believe, Friday. You can see by soaking it how much fat and stuff comes out, and grease comes off the skull. Okay, so now I'm draining again. You can see all the fat that comes out of there. Rinse that off. You can take a brush, just brush the rest of this away. There's lots inside the skull still that I will get later. I have to go to work right now, so I will just do this just to get rid of all the fat, and then I'll just fill it back up again with hot water, and I will let it soak again. It's amazing the stuff that actually comes out of there. Get the hose out all over. I will grab the forceps one day, probably on the weekend, and everything inside should be loose enough for me to start pulling out all that I missed. Very drain this. I get this all nice and clean. Put the plug back in. Let's try to leave that standing up so it's easier to grab. There we go. And I'm going to add borax again. A liberal amount. Borax is cheap, so I don't really care how much I use of it. And a ton of Dawn and Straw soap, that's pretty cheap too. Turn that full. The reason I put this cloth on it, I think I said, is just because I can't fill this high enough. It's a little more time consuming doing it this way than boiling it, but I don't do a lot of these. So maybe, like, I think this is my 4th one I'm doing. If I'm doing a deer, I will boil it for about 45 minutes. And then pressure wash it, and then it comes really clean real quick. But this is so big, the skull is so big on these things that it makes it harder to do. Find a big pot. I ain't gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy a big one just for doing moose heads unless I was gonna do it for money. It's just something else I'd have to store and just lay around without me using it for a year or so. Just take up space. So I'm just going to fill this all the way up and then show you how it looks when I let it set. Yesterday I did a whole pile of work on it and got a lot of the stuff out of the inside. I'm going to work on it again right now and I'll show you guys how I do that. You can still, by looking in the water, you can still see that there's fat and stuff coming out of the head. It's getting a lot better though. There were some real big chunks yesterday that I was trying to get out. Okay, so I hang it like that and I slide my skinny little body in there. Now, I don't know if you can see in there. There's one big piece you can see stuck in here. Once I get that out, I almost think that's pretty much all of it. I want to get that one piece out of there. And it's going to be fun. I was fighting with it last night for a bit. I got a lot of stuff out of this thing last night. A whole handful. There's just that one big piece I can't reach in there. It'll just all of a sudden let loose. Once I'm done doing this, I'll just pour a whole bunch of that volume 40 stuff. Yesterday I was pulling great big snotty chunks out. Long pliers sure do help. So it can be tedious, depends how clean you want to get it. I'd say breaking shit in there is not going to hurt nothing. Because you're not going to really see in there anyways. What the hell that is? Looks like a stick or something. So yeah, this is just cartilage that ran all the way down the nose that I broke off. That'll all come nice and white there. So I'm going to soak this again. One I did, I kept sticking these little guys in here. See, I can feel that in there. And all of a sudden it just came right out. Because that's what'll happen, because from soaking so long, it'll work its way. And plus with me pulling all the time, it just lets go because it's been... I might get it here. Keeps on wanting to go right back in, doesn't it? Don't want to pull too hard. So I am getting it. You hear that? Look at that. See what I just got out of there? That's what you don't want to leave behind. So I got the one out of there and there, so glad I got that. And I'm glad I got to show you guys how I got that out of there. Glad I got that piece out. That piece. Is that the plug I had in there? No. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm gonna fill her up again. So once again, I got the borax. Dump a liberal amount in. This stuff's cheap, so I suggest you do the same. Not be cheap with it. And Dawn dish soap as well. So now I'll fill this all up. Alrighty, and because I can't get it all underneath the water, I just like to, and I'll throw this on there every once in a while. So this is just all hot water to make sure there's no air bubbles. If I can under there. I want it all to be wet. That's why I leave the little cup like that. Now hold it down. Okay, this is almost getting full. I fill it right to the top. Get as much as I can. That seems to be the lowest spot in my tub, so I go to there. There we go. I will just leave this now. Oh, here we are, still working on the mousse. Okay, what tells me that I probably got most of the fat out of here is there's no fat floating in the water. It's just very little, and that could have been just residual stuff, as you can see right there. So I'm going to drain this and give it a once over. So it's been quite a while since I've just been too busy to do anything. So it's been over 3 weeks with this thing soaking. I would really like to give it one more go over with a pressure washer, but looking outside, that's not going to happen. So make do and see how it turns out. Okay, this has been super tedious, but I think I'm getting her pretty good now. You can see all the stuff in the sink there that I got out. Some pretty big chunks like this. I'll leave that in, or this or that. But I think I'm getting her pretty good now. Just I'm gonna soak it again. I'm not gonna do the coloring right now. So I'm gonna soak it again probably for this weekend, and then well, next weekend I think I'm going hunting, so it'll be a bit.